All right, everybody, welcome to another edition of Off the Top Sportscast. I'm John, and that is Roy here with you as always. Roy, you have a topic, and I believe it's an NBA one.
NBA topic for discussion is right now LeBron James, you can say, is the face of the NBA. Maybe he's around 2 more years, 3 more years, maybe one. Who will be the next face of the NBA?
All right, yeah, we know we're the NBA is in a interesting spot right now. I think for the last couple of years, probably 6, 7 years, you know, the guys who have been the top have been the top. You know, you got your LeBron, you got your Curry, you got your Durant, but those guys are aging, and there will be another face. And who's the next one? That's a good question. The first guy who comes to mind for me is Ja Morant, and it's unfortunately, what's happened with him and his off the court uh, problems. Um, but I'm just taking his basketball game and how it translates. Good looking kid, uh, uh, good mannerisms. He's a good speaker, um, very marketable if he gets all this behind him. And his game really translates to the diehard guys who like it, a tough player in the paint, and the new school guys who like kind of a flashier style. What do you think about John Moran?
I agree that as a ball player, he's a great ball player. He's a good ball player. Mentally, I think he's very immature, which, again, when you look at trying to make money off of him, it could be difficult.
Yeah,
Um, I agree, and then I just don't think he's going to get the opportunity. Um, the next thing I say is um, a person who I think has a better chance, marketable, likable, good player. I think he could be the next face. And I'll pick this one as my number one pick. I got a few others, but number one, Luka, Dallas Mavericks. He's in a team not like New York, you know what I mean? But he's in that team that I think Luka, the face of Dallas. When you think of Dallas, when you think of a player, I don't think anyone's going to say he's not one of the top 5 point guards in the league, dominant, can take control of the game, um,
absolutely.
competitive. So I say Luka would be on my top. If we were both going to pick three, I would say Luka number one.
The thing about Luca is, in recent years, we've had guys like James Harden, we've had guys like Westbrook. Their games are not the same as Luca's. Well, James Harden maybe is a little bit similar to Luca. Uh, but when we had guys that were proficient scorers, but it didn't translate into wins. And he has to be able to win in the offseason. He has to be able to win in the playoffs, get deep in the playoffs, and make guys around him better. And I think that's what Luca right now is a little bit lacking in. I'm not saying that he can't do it, but that part of his game has to be elevated. I think for me, if he's going to be the face, I think it's there's guys that we're not talking about, and I don't know if it's because they've reached an echelon that maybe they are the face. I feel like we're not saying Giannis, we're not saying Jokic, but both those guys have won championships and arguably could be considered right now the faces.
So again, give me three. Are you
Yeah,
saying those guys is going to be your number two?
no, I'm gonna say Devin Booker's my number two.
Ooh, that's a little bit of a curveball for me. Okay.
Yeah. And you know why he to me has such good potential to be number two is this good looking kid. I mean, when you see the a face of a product, that's a face you can sell. You know, he has the charisma. He's kind of low key. He's a team player, and he's got a good team around him right now. that if he can come and become the alpha on that team, I think that propels him to the next level. Because if he can be the leader and the alpha and the guy we're talking about with a team like Bradley Beal and Kevin Durant, then I think that'll show the world um, that that he is the face of the league. You know,
I wouldn't have thought of Devin Booker. Why? Is just when I think of not as the top player, great. Want him on a team? Yes. He's not that vocal upfront camera guy that you hear. Maybe it's because it's in Phoenix. Maybe that's the issue. But I agree with you. Talent wise, if he comes out a little bit more, I think he could be the face. Maybe just I think if the team gets to that next level, maybe he's the face. But you really haven't even talked about, when I talked about Luka, that's MVP caliber. You know,
you don't
um,
think Devin Booker is?
I don't think he's going to ever win that time. That
Mm.
where Jokic, yeah, that's different. You see what I mean? The
Mhm.
problem is Jokic is more about basketball is a game, not his life. So I don't
Yeah,
think he'll ever be um, that person. Now, the person
yeah,
you did say was my number two. Number two for me was Giannis.
yeah.
Vocal, lovable, has a championship, and with the team that he has, could be on track for two or maybe even three. That will elevate him to being probably the next one for me. He could be the next one, Giannis. So that's my person. And you said him, and I was like, man, that's the. I was going to talk about him because again, when you see him, likable, he doesn't hold back from talking, aggressive, has already won one, and now has the opportunity to win another. I think Giannis is strong candidate for technically being the name of the NBA.
I think it's funny. Yeah, I totally agree with you, but I think it's funny because if you think about Giannis's dominance, he's been dominant now for 4 years at least, right? That you go, that Giannis is the guy. But you don't see him places. You don't see him. He doesn't have a lot of endorsements. He doesn't have a lot of outside ventures that you see him being sponsored by things, and I don't know why that is. Uh, but I think for me, if you have the game, which Giannis has all the game, he has a personality. You're right. If he was gonna be that, I feel like he should have already been that. That's my only thing. And I don't really have a reason why not. You know what I mean? But I don't know. It's a strange thing, don't you think?
I think so, but I have seen him on shows. I've seen him on
Hmm.
different things, and I think he's. I think you're going to see him more involved into that maturity level. You know what I mean? Yes. Before he came from nowhere all the way up, and all of a sudden you were like Giannis, 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 and he's developed his body, developed his game, all that. Now with the team, I think you're going to see that again. A lot of the teams are making some positions. We keep on hearing in the NBA a lot of things going on, but with
Uh,
this team, it is an ugly team. That if they're healthy and they played well, what are you going to do? Come out and now you're going to get Leonard. You're going to go Giannis. Who are you going to go? Where are you going to go? Who are you going to attack? They're going to just eat you up. So I'm saying Giannis is my number two. Who's your number three?
yeah, number three is hard only because there's a lot of good young players out there, and quite frankly, there's a guy that I really want to say, but he's such a mess that I can't say him. Um,
Don't say it. Is don't say it.
what do you think
Don't
I'm gonna say?
say it.
What do you think I'm gonna say?
Dallas too.
No,
Oh,
no,
okay.
he had his time to be it, and he squandered it away. I was gonna say Zion. You know, he has all the talent, big body. He's a big kid. He's likable. But then he's got all this other stuff that you just go, man, I just can't get behind. And work ethic. If you don't have work ethic in your sport, I think it's going to be hard for somebody to come and say, we're going to make this guy the face of the league or the face of our product uh, because of that. Do you know what I mean? I think my third person, oh man, there's so many good guys. I'm going to go with somebody that I really like, uh, and I'm going to go with Donovan Mitchell.
I like him. I like him. I think I'm with you. Tell me why, though. Tell me why.
Well, he reminds me so much of Dwayne Wade. I think he needs to capture a moment. There'll be a series, there'll be a moment. And I feel like he was real close there for a little bit in Utah when they had Gobert and they had Ingles over there. I thought that team was really close to capturing a moment. They just couldn't catch fire, or maybe just the team that they ran up against were just better. But if he could break through and have his big moment, he's got the look. Good looking kid. He's got the Kobe Bryant smile. Uh, he's got that killer instinct. And I just I just think that he's a very marketable player. He's got the intensity. His game translates kind of across all boards. You can see him highlights of him shooting. You can see him highlights of him dunking. Um, I just like him as a player so much, and he reminds me so much of D Wade. I think that's swaying me a lot, but I like Donovan Mitchell.
I agree with you. I was trying to look up to see if I could see some of his stats. I agree. I agree. I think he's a good player. I don't know if he's going to be that player. I can't find anything really quick on him right now, but I think he's a good. I think I have two players that are on my number three. And I'm kind of a little shaky on him right now. But I'm going to give you one of my three, and I'm going to make a decision. One's in Miami, and one's in Boston.
Okay.
I think Butler has, even think about it right now when they had the kind of the preseason, and they had taken the photos, and then Butler came out with that straight hair and all. Everybody was talking Butler, Butler, Butler. I think he's very captivating as a player. He's in a good city, Miami. I think if I would give him a hedge up over Tatum from Boston. Boston, I think if he could get him, and close the deal on the championship, I think, and the same with Butler. I think if Butler gets to a championship, I think he's going to get into that next phase of player. So again, I say Tatum, Butler, but I would say Butler probably has the neck up, probably a neck above, because you just want to hear the guy talk. He's at tennis matches. He's doing
That's
different
true.
people, just worldwide, kind of an influence covering. So really, I'm even thinking more less Tatum, more Butler. So I would say number three. Again, I got my three there, and man, he's coming up for me. But I would even say maybe almost getting to number two, but I'm gonna say number three, Butler, Jimmy Butler.
Yeah, Jimmy's good. That's a good one because I think he's young enough to take the mantle from LeBron and have it for, a few years. Um, and he's old enough that he's got the respect. He can be the elder statesman in the room. Some of my guys, that's the only problem with my guys. They're to be able to grab the league, you have to have the respect of the other guys, and that'll be hard when you're young. Jimmy's real good. That's a good one. He's in a good spot too in Miami. Um, I think he definitely has the respect of people. Uh, I don't know. I don't know how marketable he is to everyone, but I also think that we're skewed because LeBron really does cast a wide net as far as marketing. You know what I mean? And there's not many guys who can market like that. Shaq was a guy who could market to everybody, every age group. Um, so that's the problem with that being the face of the NBA thing is that you really gotta you really gotta grab a lot of people, you know?
I think though Shaq played in multiple cities, won multiple championships, different cities. Same thing with LeBron. Very captivating. I think someone who could have and lost his way, could have, was two people. Tell me if you agree with me, who lost their way. Dwight Howard.
Yes.
I think he could have been, again, a big person there. And I think,
Absolutely.
um, I just forgot his name. Oh, Durant. Durant, I think a lot of people just don't like him.
Yeah, if you go back, it's really funny when I think about Kevin Durant. There's literally been two Kevin Durants. There was, to me, pre MVP Kevin Durant and post MVP Kevin Durant. It almost felt like after he won the MVP, he thought he was going to get some sort of accolades or praise or be put on a pedestal with LeBron and maybe with Melo at the time or with LeBron and D Wade or LeBron and Steph. And I don't think that happened. And I think that really bothered him. And I think it bothered him so much that he left Oklahoma City and went to Golden State. And I think he went there with the intent of saying, I'm going to be the best guy on this team. And then when we win a championship, what are you going to say then? I was the best on this team.
Yeah.
And
I,
he
I,
was, you
I think
know.
he was the best. The problem is being the best and trying to take over the team that wasn't yours. He could have came in and said, I'm the best, the player. But this is your team.
He tried to do it he tried to steal the hearts and minds of people the hardest way possible. That's really literally the hardest way.
He was a jerk at times. That's the problem. He was a jerk at times.
Yeah.
John, the thing is, we're gonna just wait to see who would be right because we don't know. Injury, he could be out. 2 more years, he could be out. I think that's all LeBron has is 2 more years, and then we could be talking about somebody else.
Sure.
Really, we could be talking about else. But the main thing, what we want to really have is a conversation. If the people who watch this broadcast tell us what they think, who's the next face, give us another question, give us another topic. But please subscribe to our channel. Look at us on Facebook, YouTube. We love having these conversations. We're going to have more.
Absolutely, guys. We're going to go ahead and wrap this episode up. Let us know who you think the face of the NBA is going to be in the future, or who you think has the biggest potential for being that. We will see you the next time on Off the Top Sportscast. The conversation will continue after this.